Hey everyone, this is Low Life Plays coming at you with another deck tech here. This one is going to be for Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Still making some tweaks here, just adding some stuff in. Got to play her a few times. She's pretty crazy. Boros commander who can hit everybody at once. That seemed pretty awesome, so jumped right into that. I'm really picking between her and Jolly Balloon Man, so you might see, I'm going to upload this deck tech, and then I might also tweak it and try Jolly Balloon Man out and see which one I kind of like more. They have some similarities, share a lot of similar cards, but not really sure which direction I'm going to go for the deck to keep. But so far, this one seems pretty fun, so let's dive into it. Alright, so Arabella, she's just 1 red and 1 white for a 1/3, and whenever she attacks, deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Let's just jump into our ramp section here. So we got our Soul Rings, Arcane Signet, we got our Talisman, our Boros Signet, classic ramp pieces. Jumping into removal section, right? So we got Chaos Warp, Stroke of Midnight, and that wraps up for my single target removal. But I do have a lot of wipes, right? So I do have those for non-land permanents, and then Chaos Warp for target permanent. But we have Dusk to destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Works out great for us. And it has Aftermath to return all creatures with power 2 or less. Awesome. I'm also running White Sun's Twilight. This one's really nice just to pay a little bit more, wipe the board, gain some life, and create a bunch of 1/1s, which is just super good for us. And then the Battle of Bywater also here, where it'll blow up everything with power 3 or greater. And then you can create foods for each creature you control. So maybe some lifelink or life gain on the back end of that as well. Here are just some generic value creatures that we're running. So Spirited Companion, draw some cards. Running a lot of Enduring Innocence in this draw plan. So this one's really nice just because it hits R2. It's a lifelinker. When it dies, it comes back as an enchantment. I really like this card out of the set. Welcoming Vampire, pretty classic draw engine in these low power, plus it has 2 power, right? Same with Rumor Gatherer, really amazing. Mentor of the Meek. We're running Skull Clamp. Idol of Oblivion. We do make a lot of tokens. This is probably a flex slot. I do really like it in here, but feel free if you wanted to put more up the creature count. I could also see going in that direction too, or maybe putting in like a Hordling Outburst or something like that. Takazi's Welcome, just really drawing. So Storm of Souls, just in here for a recursion, right? Like I believe it's our only recursion spell. Yep. And it's just in here in case the game goes long. It's nice to have this as an option to just reanimate everything from your graveyard, make it a 1/1, and then hit face with Arabella. So really good on that. Akroma's Will, we're a combat-based deck, and we have our commander out a lot, so this can be good to protect our commander. It can be good to just swing and just make sure all of our little guys can just kill everybody. So this is also probably a flexible slot, because I know Akroma's Will can be a little expensive. You definitely don't need it. You could definitely swap in something just like another 2-power creature or another generic value piece, or maybe even some more removal. Spot removal could be good here. But these are really my win cons, right? So we're running Akroma's Will, and then I'm running 2 ways to increase the combat step. So I'm running Karlach, where whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, you untap all attacking creatures, and then they gain first strike until end of turn. And then there's another combat phase. So really good. A little expensive, both of these being 5 and 6, but they're win cons really. Morog, just remember that this one is a landfall ability, and then you really want to make sure you trigger your landfall on your second main, right? So it's whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase, so you can just run right into combat, main phase 2, just do a lot of really fun stuff with Morog. But he's a very, very good combat-focused piece to have, and I like him in this strategy. Delny. Oh, man. I remember pulling this bad boy, and just the amount of decks I want him in, and I only have 1 copy. So I definitely have to keep moving him around. But he's so good, especially in this build, right? Creatures you control power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures power 3 or greater. Awesome for Arabella, so we can really get in there and swing. And then double Arabella trigger. Awesome. In addition to any of our other things, the double trigger, that'd be really nice. Do remember, if it says once per turn, doesn't trigger twice. But all the other types of triggers that we do manage can work. Anointed Procession, This one, I'm not super sure on, right? We have a lot of token makers, and we'll go over those, but it is an expensive card. So, I mean, you could easily put this in for like a Hordling Outburst or something that just makes a lot of tokens at once. But I do think it has its place in here just because we do have so many token makers. It can be really, really nice in this list. Same thing goes for Mondrak, Glory Dominus. Just really good to double any tokens because I am trying to head down a mixture of low creatures and token makers, right? So those guys really do help us in that vein. Sabira, this one is really amazing in the way that it's a 2/3, which is great for us, has haste, and then it has the ability where I can pay 1. Another creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked. So I love any of these things that can let us get Arabella through and also don't hurt the deck's synergy plan, right? It's a 3-drop, so it can come in after Arabella. Really good in the curve, has an ability to make it so she can't be blocked. Awesome. And it has a discard draw clause to it, where whenever a creature with power 2 or less deals combat damage, draw a card. So, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm also running Ragged Playmate. This one is another similar thing where you can just pay 1, and then you can make Arabella unable to be blocked. So, lots of ways to make sure that Arabella can attack without dying is a really good key piece to what we're doing here. Deep Gnome Terramancer. This is the definitely value section, right? So running Deep Gnome is a 2/2, so that's good, and then it has Flash, so we can maybe get some extra planes into play here, just off of our opponent's ramping. Really, really good. Love that guy. I am running Stoneforge Mystic. Definitely another flex slot here. I like Stoneforge because I really want to make sure I can just go get one of the equipments to protect Arabella and make it sure that she can get through and doesn't have any issues. So we'll get to equipment here in a minute. But Stoneforge definitely seems like a good call. And then I do have 2 other tutors. I have Recruiter the Guard and Imperial Recruiter. These guys have dropped a lot in price recently with the reprints, so I think it's a good time to, pick them up. And they fit very, very, very good into this list just because they themselves are less than 2, and then they go get really whatever creature in our deck we need. So, I mean, we could go use these to fetch Stoneforge, to fetch the creature. It's really not, or to fetch the equipment. Really good. Solemn, classic, Let's just ramp. He has the power we need. He's draw. It's just good, right? We love that guy. Selfless Spirit, just some board protection. So this is going to get us into some of the protection creatures that we're running. So we definitely have Selfless Spirit. We're running Flawless Maneuver because we do commit pretty heavily to the board. So having a lot of ways to protect that board presence is really important to us. We're going to be very wide just because we need to be in order to have Arabella hit for so much. But we do have a lot of life, so we don't have to really use our resources blocking that much, just because, she gains so much life every turn that it kind of mitigates that aspect. So really just protecting them from wipes and removal is our big focus. So we're running Flawless Maneuver. I'm running Clever Concealment. Just an amazing card. I would love to have more of these, but only got 1 so far. Just so good. So good. Teferi's Protection, very classic protection spell, T-Pro, let's go. Right, you can just phase out, don't have to worry about anything. Dawn's Truce, this one is a newer one from Bloomborough. I really like it in here. It's just our heroic intervention in white, right? The only thing is we do have to give somebody a card, but, whatever. Boros Charm can really, it's flexible, but really it's in here for the permanents are indestructible. But, giving a creature double strike, that has some utility here. And then we have some one-of protections, like we have Giver of Runes and Mother of Runes. These can be really flexible in giving protection to Arabella so she can swing through with protection, or just to dodge removal. These guys, every time you see them in play, they often are at least going to draw a piece of removal before Arabella will, because they have to kill one of these. So I like them just for that. Hardened Escort, I'm testing this card out. I think it's pretty nice, right? It's a 2/4, so it has a pretty big booty on it. And it gives Arabella indestructible, right? Essentially, that's what I'm using it for. Is whenever it attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains indestructible. So you can swing in with a 2/4. Odds are you'll be able to get in somewhere with it, or they'll have to devote a lot of resources to killing it because they can't kill Arabella, so it definitely gives some flexibility. So I like it right now, but I could definitely see replacing it with something else. Getting us into some equipment, we do have Greaves, Mithril Coat. This one's excellent for us just because we just want her to be indestructible so we can swing in and not worry about it. So we got Mithril Coat. Also running Brotherhood Regalia, right? This one is a super interesting card from Assassin's Creed. Equipped creature has Ward 2, which is cool, but really we're in here for the can't be blocked, and it only has pay 1 to equip to a legendary creature. So I swapped this one in for I had the shrouded cloak thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it makes it unblockable. It gives it shroud. But we had Brotherhood Regalia in place of that, just because I think it fits better than what we're needing. Also running Reconnaissance. Classic if we're in an attack strategy deck where we want attack triggers. Reconnaissance has a home here. You can, in response to the damage, you can still get the attack trigger, so that way if she doesn't die, you can just swing in. You don't have to worry about it. Love Reconnaissance. Break Through the Line. Excellent card in this list. Just 2 mana. You can pay 1. Not only does it give Arabella or pretty much any creature in our deck haste, but it also makes it so it can't be blocked this turn. So just awesome. Just really, really excellent haste enabler. And enabler to get Arabella through every turn for just 1 red mana. Really, really good. Then we are running pingers. So we're running Perforos, God of the Forge. I'm also running Impact Tremors. Those are the 2 big ones. I was running another one. I was running, I think it's War Leader's Call or something like that. But I found that it gives that buff of +1/+1 to all my creatures, and I was like, it's putting some of them out of the range of Arabella, and I just don't know if this is really what I want. I also was thinking about Goblin Bombardment, but I'm not really super sure if I really like that in this place, because I'm not really sacking a lot of tokens. It's just not what I'm doing. I want to have a large board presence. I do see the point of making a ton, swinging with Arabella, and then being able to sack and ping whatever off, but yeah, this is just a choice. I am running Halo Fountain in the way that I like to be able to untap a target creature, make a token. That's nice. But I also really enjoy the ability to tap 2 creatures to draw a card. That's really good. And then, like I said, if in a deck that's going tokens in wide and in white, why not just run this? Just has so much flexibility and utility to it. And this kind of transitions us into more of our token strategy, right? So we're running Call of the Coppercoats. Amazing instant white token card. Can just make a huge board very quickly. And then it has Strive. So really you just wait. You don't have to wait for a ton, but you can wait for maybe even 4 or 5 creatures that you could double or just take and make tokens of. Or not make tokens of the creatures, but make 1/1s in their place. It's just so strong for us to just, on an instant speed turn, be able to cast Arabella and then on our opponent's turns, right before it gets to us, make a board state swing. Super, super good. This one, if you ever faced An Impact Call before, it's a crazy, crazy card. It gets out of hand so quickly. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnomes, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then you make X 1/1s. Which is you just make so many. So she gets huge, and then you make a bunch of 1/1s. Just really, really crazy card. Loyal Apprentice, just an amazing card for what we want to be doing, making tokens every combat. And then if you have any of your token doublers, it gets so crazy. And it has haste. It's it's 2 power less. Awesome. Toby. Toby is a new card from our new Duskmourn set. Just really, really good with us. We want to have a lot of tokens in play, and it gives all of our tokens flying as long as we have 4 or more creature tokens, which happens pretty quickly. Not really that difficult to do, but that's why it's in here. It's a token buffer, and it does make a 4/4. It doesn't synergize too much with Arabella, but it's nice to have, right? So that's good. Assemble the Legion. This one is just a really good clone, or a really good token enabler, right? Every turn it just gets bigger and bigger. It does cost 5, so it's definitely on the higher end of our curve specifically, but it is really nice to be able to get it out there, and it helps us recover pretty quickly from board wipes, because if they don't deal with this first, then all right, you kill my thing, I make 4 more 1/1s on the next turn, right? Because you get a 1/1 for each muster counter on Assemble the Legion, but just keep in mind, it's a good card, but you could swap this out for something. Ultec Matter Weaver. This is just a token maker for me, right? It's a 2/4, so it's a good blocker. But whenever you cast a creature, you can just make another 1/1, or you can create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. So maybe we want to ramp some more, maybe we want some more equipment, or just very flexible piece, in addition to just be making tokens like crazy. The Jolly Balloon Man, baby. I love this guy. And in this list, he is insane. This is why I really want to... I'm going to definitely try them both and see which one I like better. But I can see in this deck, you sack, you make more... You can just... It's insane. Just with the Spirited Companion alone, right? You just make another copy of that, draw a card. So much value there. I can't imagine when you get into cards like Solitude or any of these other crazy things. But in here... He's also insanely powerful because we have a lot of creatures that when they ETB, they make tokens. So you just do that, make more tokens, and just go crazy with Arabella. She can really hit very hard. We do have one Planeswalker running Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Does everything we want, right? You know, it makes 3 1/1s, and then it's a threat presence on board because it can wipe all creatures with power 4 or greater. Just really strong. Adeline, you know, we're running white tokens. Of course, we got this baby in here. You know, when she swings, she makes a ton of 1/1s. Well, 1 for every opponent, but she gets huge. She's like an Animpakal, right? She gets huge herself, but also facilitates our strategy by making a bunch of 1/1s all the time. Really good. Horn of Gondor just makes a bunch of humans, you know? Once you have any humans, it makes more. It's pretty good. We have a lot of actual humans in the deck, so it can really synergize well. But if we didn't, it also gives us one to start the chain to work with here. Running Myrel, Shield of Argive. I have a whole list for her, but I'm testing her out in here just because her ability to make so many 1/1s and also just be just a shutdown on your opponents is just really nice for me. So I like that, especially in any deck that's going to be a combat-focused deck. I like running cards like Grand Abolisher and things like that that just impact so you can't interact with me during my combat phase. Running Kranko, I mean, I think if you can think of any card that gets big, makes tokens, we should probably put it in here. And Kranko fits the bill so good. You know, he gets big, you can put equipment on him, make him indestructible, we'll do whatever you want with that. But he just, whenever he swings, you put +1/+1 counter on it, and then make a bunch of goblins equal to his power. So Hellspur Posse Boss, right? I don't see this one in a lot of lists, but I think it fits pretty good. You know, it gives other outlaws haste, not super relevant, but when it enters, it makes 2 red mercenaries. So the mercenaries can tap, and creatures get +1/+0. Well, a target creature gets +1/+0, activate only as a sorcery. But I really like the idea of just these types of creatures. I mean, it's a 2/4, so it hits under Arabella where she needs to be. It makes 2 every time it enters, so with Jolly Balloon Man, it's an awesome synergy piece. And then all of her tokens get haste. So, I don't know. Seems pretty good. It's definitely a testing position right now, but pretty good. Siege Gang Commander. Very classic token boy. I used to run this all the time. I love him. He comes in, makes 3 1/1s. He's a 2/2, so he's centered. He's everything we need. And that gets us into our lands, right? So we're running a few interesting lands. We're running Access Tunnel because of the target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked. That's really nice. It's like, you know, similar to Rogue's Passage. Target creature can't be blocked. Costs 1 less. Both come into play untapped. So we're running those. We're also going to be running Witch's Clinic, which with the reprint, I know this one is still pretty pricey. I bought it a long time ago, but I think it's excellent for this just because Arabella is doing the damage. So you give her lifelink, her ability triggers to give you life, and then you can get even more life. Can really just set you up for some success with that one. I'm running Ministerith, just because, you know, you can draw some cards. We're a wide token deck, so we're attacking with 2 or more a lot. So just being able to draw cards in Boros is nice. I'm running Pinnacle Monk. You know, I like this guy just because it's a bolt land. It comes in, you don't have to pay, but also for 5 mana you can go get a target instant or sorcery spell, so you can go get one of those protection pieces, or maybe if you need another wipe, we can use Pinnacle Monk to get what we need. I'm also running Silkazan Crucible of Defiance. Just a legendary land, comes in untapped, which is, I mean, enough, honestly, for what I need it for. But either way, you can also channel it to just make some more 1/1s, which, if we need more creatures in play, it's nice to have a land that can do that. I'm running Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Spectator Seating, Battlefield Forge, Inspiring Vantage, Pillar Verge Pathway, Clifftop Retreat, Rugged Prairie, and a Sacred Foundry. Pretty classic Boros lands here. So got that stuff rolling in. And then we're just running some basics, you know, running a lot of basic lands. Got our mountains here. Lovely. So it looks like we're running 11 mountains. And then I think we're probably pretty similar on the plains too, because I think my curve is pretty split. I don't think there was anything that was like super leaning one way or the other, but I felt like I had enough land coverage to make the deck work. So that is my current list for Arabella. Definitely going to be tweaking it a little bit, but I think right now where it's at, it's in a pretty good spot. You definitely don't need some of the really powerful token enablers like Mondrak or Anointed Procession. I'm trying them out in here. I think I'm kind of split between a token-wide build and just like a value creature build, but don't really know which way I'd like to lean, you know? So I think you could easily go more of the value creature build and still have a very good Arabella deck and maybe save yourself some money, especially if you want to try her out. Because, you know, she's an uncommon commander. A lot of the key pieces don't really cost that much. So it could be an interesting deck if you wanted to get into aggro and you wanted to try a deck. I like this one because a lot of aggro problems arise from like, oh, well, I got to swing, you know, I'm aggro. I got to swing at player A. He's open. But this one is like everybody gets hit. So you don't really have to make those choices. Everyone is going to take the damage. So it kind of takes off that pressure from the aggro player to like kill one person fast and then work on the other two. It makes it so you're kind of draining everybody and you're doing it quickly, so you probably will be a pretty big threat. But that's why this one kind of stood out to me as an aggro player, or at least to play an aggro style deck, because I'm just not the biggest fan of like I have to hit someone really hard, really fast, take them out, and then move on to the other players. Being able to hit everybody seemed really nice for me. Plus, you can definitely grab some quick games with Arabella. I mean, she can really, really accelerate the pace. So that's Arabella. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably be throwing together a Balloon Man video soon, and we can see which ones people like better. So if you like this and you like what I'm doing here, just leave a like, comment down below. Check out my Mox Field. I got a ton of other decks on there. I'm always ripping stuff apart, building things. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!